I wanted to experience a foreign country, but not settle there.
And how much was your salary in Sweden? Like 60,000 euros, something like that?
I realized cooking is a very big skill to have when you're abroad. So I learned I cook very nice food. Now I don't understand because 6 months वो लोग darkness में रहते हैं. So as a society, most of the people are depressed. As opposed to Indians, we want to stand out because we're such a big country. If you don't stand out, you're lost in the crowd. They used to be very poor, but then the World War changed that for them.
So you're in Sweden, you're enjoying that life. And like, I just don't see myself coming back to India after that.
First 2 years were okay. Then I really felt depressed. Like I never felt that way before. Working as an employee in Sweden is different from working as an employee in India, Bangalore, because I wanted to experience that. So it made more sense for me to explore that country more. I had built some relationships there in terms of my colleagues and all who really wanted me on this one very big client that they had.
And how much was your salary in Sweden? Like 60,000 euros, something like that?
It's around it back then it was 10 rupees per SEK, but I think it is the same for Swedish as well. If I convert, it was around 55,000 euros fixed, but then I got bonus and then other things so that used to add.
55,000 euros fixed is like what? Less than 5,000 euros a month.
नहीं 5,000 नहीं आता है 5,000 वो टैक्स बोल रहा है ना जेब जेब में 5,000 ही प्रॉब्ली 2,000 आता होगा
नहीं, I used to get 3,000 in my hand. So 3,000 euros आता था, उसमें से 1,000 used to go for rent. बाकी 2,000 I used to save. क्योंकि I was on my own and I used to cook. I realized cooking is a very big skill to have when you're abroad. So I learned I cook very nice food. Sometimes I used to eat out. तो groceries तो बहुत आराम से manage हो जाता था. And I own a house in Hyderabad, so I used to send money for my EMI also. And my parents take care of themselves, so I didn't really have to send for them. But just for the EMI I used to send, and the rest I used to save. So I had a good saving.
I'm interested to hear about the Swedish work culture.
Yes.
So tell us more about it. And I
Yeah.
spent 6 months in Denmark, and what I realized was that life was good here.
It is very good. We have this survey, right? Happiness survey. And then for some reason, these Nordic countries are on the top. Now, I don't understand because 6 months वो लोग darkness में रहते हैं. So as a society, most of the people are depressed. Now, when you're that sort of a situation, how can you be happy? I mean, I was struggling to understand. Then I realized, it's a lot about comradeship. There's this really nice law, like a societal law. They're called Yante's law, which is don't stand out. So I think there is no competition there to stand out. As opposed to Indians, we want to stand out because we're such a big country. If you don't stand out, you're lost in the crowd. You have to kill or, get eaten in India. So that sort of breeds a lot of competitiveness as opposed to comradeship. So I think I realized that when you have that, when you consider everybody your comrade, there's a lot more happiness and there's a lot more stability in your life. So this is my analysis of why they're really happy because of all these things. And they have this other thing called lagom. It's a Swedish word to say that not too much, not too less, just enough. And that is the philosophy they follow even at work. Like we used to leave at 6 p.m. even as consultants. It's crazy to think that you could just leave at 6 p.m. But then the whole country works like that. There's no expectation of you to work. So that it works for them because they're a 10 million population, pretty rich. They used to be very poor, but then the World War changed that for them. This is why the Nordics are more happier and then more stable as a society.
This darkness, we are not used to it. We never grew up with darkness, and for you it was probably 6 months of darkness. We have about like 3 odd months of darkness. Now Vix cannot relate to darkness. He lives
No, I
in sunny
cannot.
California.
Sunny California.
उसको पता ही नहीं है कि मतलब कि ठंडे
Yeah,
देश कैसे होते हैं.
I saw Miglani's London through Miglani's phone and I got depressed.
As in, he was like कि यार इतना dark है और मैं कल बताया था कि today is a sunny day.
Yeah, and the
It's a
worst
sunny
thing
day.
is it rains
Like,
all the time
our
in London.
definition of sunny day was like he was saying कि this is a dark day in California. I have to say that if the Nordics, quote unquote, are more happier than the rest of the world, why factually why do they have higher suicide rates, and why is there a higher level of prescription medicine on depression.
Yeah, so this was also my thing. I mean, it's scientifically like that because of the 6 months of darkness, vitamin D deficiency, and the
Hmm.
darkness induces depression, and that leads to suicide rates for sure. So that is a problem that they have to deal with because of the environment that they're
So you
in.
can't say they are happier because 6 months to they are sadder, right?
Yeah,
So
so
on average, they're not happier or sadder. So ठीक है.
exactly. So that was my whole thing. Ki how can you have this on one end and still top the charts in happiness? Yeah, to survey wrong hai. Yeah, I used to first think that maybe the survey is designed for Western definition of happiness, which is more materialistic.
So you're in Sweden, you're enjoying that life, and like I just don't see myself coming back to India after that.
So honestly, a lot of reasons. I've seen India, right, from a different lens. So I knew I wanted to experience a foreign country, but not settle there. One, because I saw a lot of my grandparents just die on their own while my uncles were in the US. That really affected me as a kid. I didn't want to do that. The other thing also was that I wanted my kids to grow with their grandparents, because the kind of wisdom that a grandparent is able to pass on to their grandchildren is different from what a parent can give to their kids, because that is because again it goes back to our collectivist society. Like if you're rich and if you're Indian, India is the best place. There's a higher chance of me being a rich person in India than in Sweden. In Sweden, I would still be comfortable but be middle class.
But what was the big reason move back to India?
The darkness was really getting to me. So I spent 4 winters in Sweden. First 2 years were okay. Then I really felt depressed. Like I never felt that way before. And I was like, I don't want this in the longer term. And then there was no community for me, honestly. Like I might have friends, co-workers, but there was that missing feeling of community. And that is something that I feel when I'm in India, and then I can't really explain it. But there is a sense of community here. Uh, it's very different. I can't really put words to it why it is different, but I could feel it. Like it was not there, it was missing in Sweden, and it was getting to me. And I knew deep down subconsciously that I was always going to be a second class citizen there, because I was not born in that country. And it is very evident in European countries, maybe not in the US or even UK for that matter.